A candidate is standing at a checkpoint at hour 14 on the long walk. His pack is on the ground next to him. He is bent forward at the waist with his hands on his knees, breathing through his mouth. 40 feet behind him, in the tree line, a cadre instructor is standing motionless in olive drab, holding a clipboard. The cadre is grading what the candidate does in the next 60 seconds. The candidate does not see the cadre. The candidate has been told repeatedly that he will never see the cadre. And yet the cadre is grading every decision the candidate makes from this moment forward. Against a rubric the candidate will never be shown. This is Camp Dawson, West Virginia, the home of Delta Force selection, and this is the phase the cadre call the long walk. 40 miles, 45 pounds in the pack. A secret time limit the candidates are never told. Of every 100 men who arrive at Camp Dawson having already cleared the entry physical, the entry psychological, and 3 weeks of progressively brutal ruck marches and navigation tests, 94 will not complete the long walk within the cadre's secret cutoff time. 6 will. The 6 are not the strongest men in the cohort. The 6 are not the fastest. The 6 are not even necessarily the toughest. The 6 are the men who keep making correct decisions while their body has decided to stop. Before we get to what the cadre is actually grading, hit subscribe, because the rubric is the doctrine, and the doctrine starts at the pack. To understand how 94 men can fail one event, you have to understand what the first 3 weeks at Camp Dawson are actually filtering for. Selection runs 4 weeks total, twice a year, late March to late April, and late September to late October. It begins on a Sunday with 120 candidates lined up in the parking lot of an unmarked compound in the Appalachian Ridgeline country of West Virginia. By Friday of the first week, the cohort is typically down to 98. By the end of week 2, 82. By the end of week 3, 68. The long walk is the final event of week 4, and approximately 68 men remain to start it. Of those 68, the historical pattern across 3 decades is that fewer than 15 will finish the event within the secret cutoff. So the 94% failure rate is calculated against the smaller surviving cohort, not against the original 120. The earlier weeks filter for fitness, navigation, and the willingness to keep volunteering for more. The long walk filters for something else entirely. The pack weighs 45 pounds before water, before the rifle, before the radio, before the navigation kit. With all of that loaded, the carry weight at the start line is closer to 65 pounds. The candidate is told the weight. The candidate is told the distance. The candidate is told the route is 40 miles across the Appalachian Ridges and includes a cumulative elevation gain of approximately 7,000 feet. The candidate is not told the cutoff time. The cadre know it. The instructors at every unmarked observation post along the route know it. The candidate does not. He is told only that he must finish. He is told that finishing late is the same as not finishing. 45 pounds does not sound heavy until you have carried it for 15 hours up and down the ridges of West Virginia, in weather that ranges from 40 degrees and rain in March to 90 degrees and sun in late September. The pack does not get heavier. The man underneath it gets honest. Around hour 12, the upper trapezius muscles begin to seize. Around hour 14, the lumbar spine begins to compress visibly. Around hour 16, the feet begin to fail. Stress fractures of the metatarsals are common. Tibial stress fractures are common. Plantar fasciitis is universal. Blisters become irrelevant because they are buried under deeper structural problems. The pack still weighs 45 pounds. The man weighing it has been broken down to physics. The route is not a single trail. It is a series of waypoints marked on a topographic map the candidate is given at the start line. The candidate must navigate to each waypoint in the correct order by his own choice of route. The cadre do not specify which trail to take. The cadre do not specify a pace. The cadre observe what the candidate chooses. They observe how he reads the map at hour 8 when he is alert. They observe how he reads the map at hour 18 when he is hallucinating from sleep deprivation. They observe whether his pace is consistent or whether he sprints between waypoints and crashes between them. They observe whether he takes the shortest line on the map or the easiest line on the ground. The long walk is not a march. It is a 40-mile interview. If you want to know what the cadre at the unmarked tree line are actually grading, hit subscribe. Because before we get to that rubric, we have to start at the failure modes. There are 6 documented failure modes on the long walk, and they account for almost every one of the 94 candidates who do not finish. The first is the most common. It is called drop on request, abbreviated DAR. The candidate decides he is done. He stops at a waypoint, takes the pack off, and tells the cadre observer that he is quitting. The cadre observer notes the time on his clipboard. He does not argue with the candidate. He does not encourage the candidate. He calls in the candidate's location to the operations cell at Camp Dawson, and within an hour, a vehicle arrives to take the candidate back to the compound. The candidate's selection is over. There is no second attempt at the long walk. There is no chance to try again next cycle. The drop on request is permanent. The second failure mode is navigation off route. The candidate reads the map incorrectly, takes a wrong ridgeline, and misses a waypoint. The cadre at the missed waypoint does not see him arrive. The cadre at the next waypoint sees him arrive late and from the wrong direction. The candidate's name goes onto the failed list. He is not told yet. He continues the walk because the cadre do not announce failures at waypoints. Failures are announced at the end. The candidate may walk 15 more miles thinking he is still in the running, only to learn at the finish line that his selection ended at hour 8. The third failure mode is exceeding cutoff. The candidate arrives at a waypoint after the cadre's secret time has expired for that waypoint. He may not know that the cutoff has passed. He may be inside the cumulative cutoff for the whole event, but outside the per waypoint cutoff for that segment. The cadre's rubric tracks both. The candidate goes onto the failed list at the missed waypoint and continues to walk, again unaware. The fourth failure mode is stress fracture. The candidate's foot or tibia gives out. He cannot continue. He is medically dropped. The cadre treats this with respect but without exception. The candidate is removed from selection. There is no medical recycling. The long walk filters for what it filters for, and a broken leg means the body said no first. The fifth failure mode is exposure. The weather changes. The candidate did not pack correctly for the conditions. He develops hypothermia in March, or heat exhaustion in late September. The cadre observer pulls him from the route when the body temperature reaches the medical threshold. He is treated, recovered, and removed from selection. The sixth failure mode is the rarest and the most telling. It is called acknowledging cadre. Candidates are explicitly briefed at the start of selection that they will not see cadre on the route, that any cadre presence is incidental, and that any acknowledgement of cadre by the candidate counts as a failure of the event. A candidate who waves at a cadre observer in the tree line, or who calls out a question, or who attempts to make eye contact is failed on the spot. The acknowledgement is not punished because the cadre cares about being seen. The acknowledgement is punished because it reveals the candidate is looking for external validation when the event is engineered to test internal decision-making. That sixth failure mode is the doctrine. The long walk is not testing fitness. The long walk is testing whether the candidate can keep making correct tactical and navigational decisions for 16 to 20 hours, under fatigue and isolation, without external feedback or supervision. That is the trait Beckwith designed the phase to filter for. Charles Beckwith founded Delta Force in 1977, and his founding selection design borrowed heavily from his 1962 exchange tour with the British 22 Special Air Service at Hereford. The SAS fan dance at Pen Y Fan in the Brecon Beacons of Wales tests the same trait. The long walk at Camp Dawson is the American refinement of that test. If you have made it this far, you are not here for the surface. The cadet membership gives you 24-hour early access on every video, the operator emoji in chat, and a place inside the Brotherhood that does not appear on the public feed. Link in description. Back to the cadre rubric. Inside the operations cell at Camp Dawson, the rubric has 5 columns. Pace, route selection, navigation accuracy, body language, decision-making at observed checkpoints. Each cadre observer fills in a per-candidate score on his clipboard for each waypoint the candidate hits or misses. The scores are aggregated overnight after the long walk concludes. The candidates who finished within the cutoff and who score above a minimum on the aggregated rubric advance to the commander's board, which is the final selection event. An interview with senior Delta cadre. The candidates who finished within the cutoff but scored below the rubric minimum are quietly dropped without being told why. The candidates who did not finish are told only that selection has ended. The pace column scores consistency. A candidate who maintains a 15-minute mile pace for the first 10 hours and then collapses to a 40-minute pace for the last 6 is scored as having failed to manage his energy. A candidate who runs the first segments and walks the last is scored similarly. The candidate who scores well is the one who finds a sustainable pace by hour 2 and holds it within a narrow band for the entire event. The route selection column scores judgment. The cadre know which routes between waypoints are objectively faster on the ground and which are objectively safer for the navigator. A candidate who consistently picks the route that is slightly slower but objectively safer scores above a candidate who picks the shortest line at every decision. The scoring rewards the operator who treats the route as a tactical question rather than a foot race. The navigation column scores accuracy. The cadre observers track which candidates hit waypoints from the correct direction, which arrive from the wrong direction, implying a recovery from a navigation error, and which miss waypoints entirely. The candidates who navigate flawlessly score the highest. The candidates who recover from errors mid-route score above the candidates who never recovered. The body language column is the most subjective but the most decisive. Cadre observers note posture, head position, gait, and visible stress responses at waypoints. A candidate who arrives at a waypoint drops his pack, sits down with his head between his knees, and stays there for 10 minutes scores poorly. A candidate who arrives at a waypoint drinks water standing up, checks his map, and starts walking within 90 seconds scores well. The body language column is the cadre's window into the candidate's decision architecture under fatigue. The decision-making column scores observable choices at unmarked checkpoints. Cadre place small puzzles in the route at hidden observation points. A bag of equipment on a stump, a radio with an indicator light on, a map case with the wrong topographic for the area. The cadre watch how the candidate handles each. Does he pick up the equipment, examine it and replace it correctly? Does he ignore it? Does he engage with the puzzle as if it might be relevant or dismiss it as a distraction? The scoring rewards the candidate who treats every anomaly on the route as potentially significant and acts on it correctly. The 6 candidates who survive the long walk and pass the commander's board move into the operator training course at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. 6 months at Bragg. Direct action methodology, close quarters combat refinement, specialized intelligence support training. At the end of OTC, the survivors are assigned to a Delta squadron and begin their first operational rotation within 90 days. The 94 who did not finish the long walk go back to their parent units with no notation in their personnel file, other than the period of TDY at Camp Dawson. The unit they came from does not know what they did or did not do at Camp Dawson. Selection is its own institution, and its records are closed. The men who finished the long walk often describe the experience years later, in retired operator interviews, with a recurring observation. They do not say they were the toughest in the cohort. They do not say they were the strongest. They say they were the men who kept making the next correct decision when their body had already cast its vote to stop. That is the doctrine Beckwith engineered. The long walk is the most expensive interview the United States military conducts, and the question on the application form is a single question that takes 40 miles to answer. Here is what most selection documentaries get wrong about the 94% number. They frame it as cruelty, or as institutional brutality, or as a measure of how hard the selection process is. It is none of those things. The 94% is the natural prevalence rate of men in the Special Operations talent pool who can sustain correct decision-making under 16 hours of sustained fatigue. The cadre did not pick the number. The number picked itself, decade after decade, as the same percentage of each cohort hit the same wall at approximately the same point in the route. Camp Dawson is the doctrine, not the cruelty. The 94 are not failures. They are men who learned where their ceiling lives. The 6 who finish go on to become the men who answer the door at Langley 10 years later, when the CIA Special Activities Center recruiting packet arrives. They go on to command Delta squadrons by year 15. They go on to sit at the commander's board 10 years after their own walk, evaluating the next cohort's candidates. The long walk is not just a selection event. It is the generational filter that produces every Delta cadre instructor who will ever stand in a tree line at hour 14, holding a clipboard, watching a candidate decide what to do next. Here is what the SEAL community will not tell you. DevGru selection does not have an equivalent of the long walk. DevGru Green Team Selection is the most physically demanding course in the United States Navy, but it does not contain a single 40-mile event with an unannounced cutoff and unmarked cadre. Observation. That structural difference is the reason DevGru and Delta produce operators with different decision profiles under sustained fatigue, and it is the most underreported axis in modern Tier 1 culture. Tell me in the comments which doctrine produces the better long-duration operator. And if you want to see the parts the channel cannot say publicly, the members-only videos cover the operators we are not allowed to name on the public feed. That is the official tier. Link in description. The Long Walk has been the final event at Camp Dawson since 1978. It has filtered approximately 40 selection cycles. It has produced approximately 240 Delta operators in that time. It has not changed its rubric. It has not changed its cutoff time. It has not added a single event, and it has not removed a single event. The doctrine is the same doctrine Beckwith wrote on a yellow legal pad in 1977 at his kitchen table in Fayetteville, North Carolina. 40 miles, 45 pounds. The cadre in the tree line. The candidate making decisions without supervision. The same question asked the same way for 48 years. And the same 6 men out of every 100 generation after generation who keep saying yes.